Hello everybody, welcome to a new episode of How to DIY RC to the Wltoys K989 28 scale RC drift project, where in today's episode we are going to install the one-way diff and show you the modification that I did to make it perfect. Because if you're doing it perfect, you're really having a winner and getting a real proper drift car. So let's dig in and install. Time for the installing of the one-way diff. I'm really hyped about this one diff all the time. I knew what it can do, and now I'm gonna show you how it works. Let me just get it a little bit into focus. This is a completely metal one-way diff with special one-way bearings on the inside that spin free one way and have friction the other way around. So I can turn one way, but I have friction the other way. But this diff size is a little bit too short. We need to extend this axles outside a little bit to get the correct distance. But there's one issue: to get it far enough out of the axle so that the dog bone sits really deep inside this cup where it should be sitting, then the axle is sticking out too far out of the diff, and now it's spinning free two ways. So then the diff doesn't work anymore and turning your four-wheel drive into a rear-wheel drive drift car. Something you really don't like without the gyro, because then you got super much oversteer and you only want a little bit oversteer. And that's what's make this a difficult upgrade, and you need some modification to the cup to get it correct. You can do two things. You can extend this cup like the walls and make them longer, just like the stock axles, stock cups, or you can do what I did and just filling up the cup with paper, just normal copyright paper. But it needs to be perfect, not 1/2 mil too much, not 1/2 mil too less, because if there's not enough paper inside, then it gives too much play, making it move in and out, and if it moves then out too far, it doesn't work anymore. So then you have a diff that sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. You need to put in enough paper on this side of the cup to make sure that the dog bone sits really tight in there, but not too tight, because then the wheel starts to stop spinning free and starts to run rough, and it's like having a brake on it all the time. So when you release the throttle at that moment, then it, depending on which wheel has the problem, the car will turn that way all the time, because there's like a brake on it all the time, something you don't want. But that's the first modification. The second modification that we have to do, I will be showing you while we are going to install it. But the second item you need for this upgrade modification are these M3 washers. There's an M3 hole on the inside, and there is and the outside diameter is 7 mil. You need to be really careful of that, because there are also M3 washers where the inside is 3 millimeters and the outside is 9 millimeters. But these are 3 millimeters inside diameter, 7 mil on the outside. Keep that in mind, and of course you'll be finding the links also down below, just to make it easy for you. And you need to use 2 washers on each side of the axle. So each axle gets 2 of these washers. It's all pretty tiny fiddly job. Keep those to the side for now. Then this is the way that we have to install the diff into it, but you get 4 spaces, and you're going to need all 4 spaces, but there's a special way of how to put them into place, and I'm going to show you. Actually it should show you the other way around, but this is the easiest. This is how the diff is going to be inside, with the long piece on. Actually it is the right side of the car, but for you now it's on the left. And on the left side you're gonna put 3 washers. This is all to get it perfectly aligned with the pinion gear, or else you're gonna be destroying the pinion gear, because this is metal. So if you don't line it up perfectly and it's too much pushing inside the pinion gear, well, it's gonna be destroyed in seconds. But luckily this diff will last a long time until the bearing is gonna go give out. Yeah, it's so dark and so small inside, but there are special bearings on each side of the diff. So, don't get confused, we put 3 washers on that side, then we put the bearing from the stock diff back in its place, and then we put 1 washer on the right side, and then add the bearing. This makes it sits super tight inside the case. And you can also now just assemble the case, and then we're gonna push in the axles later on. Just do it step by step. Now we're going to add the one-way diff axle. It's a really job. I don't know if you can even see it on camera, but I'm just going to show you that it can be done. And then you need to get the dog bone sitting in there, but it's all really hard to show on camera. And then at the same time you need to get the arm into place, and need to get the long screw inside the arm. Well, the dog bone sits in its place. It's also figgly. But that is, when you have done the easy upgrades, you're only gonna get more difficult and more difficult and more difficult. I hope I showed you that it works. As you can see, you know, there's not enough play. I'm not gonna do that difficult figgly job. It's gonna take some time. I'm gonna be right back. After installing the diff, it's time if you did the modification correct, and if you have added enough paper to remove the play, so the dog bone don't fall out and it reaches the cup and it sits in there tight, but at the same time not too tight to make the wheel run rough. It still needs to spin free. Even just a half mil too much paper in that cup and your wheel is running rough. And if that creates a little bit of friction, and just that little bit of friction on driving on ice makes the car turn left all the time, because it's just like this wheel is a little bit on the brake. So that's why I didn't recommend this upgrade for the beginner, but I've shown you how to do it. And if you get it right, your car turning into a real proper drift car, and that's why I'm sticking with it, because I'm really liking it. And that's why you will be finding the links down below, and I hope you'll like it too and give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, well, then give it a thumbs down, and I hope you subscribe. For the next episode we are really going to upgrade the steering servo. And I want to say thank you all for watching and goodbye. Until next time.